I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands.
Welcome to Build an Iconic Life podcast. I'm your host, Chris Whitehead, and this podcast is dedicated to help you build a life with zero regrets by focusing on how you have everything you need to stand up, stand out, and live life on your terms. Let's dive right in.
There's so many people, even in my company, that have, I put it this way, get scared. I call them people, people want to quit. I go, you're scared. You're scared to die in the battle. You're not a soldier. No, but it's not like that. I'm like, no, imagine like this. We go to a battle and you're like, I think I'm going to, ask Joey to take my post. I'm going to go cook a piece of meat. I'm kind of hungry. I can't count on you. You're hungry, huh? And I'm not? Why are you even talking about it? Like, people say, tired, hungry, I have a headache, I'm thirsty. Instantly, if anybody says that to me in business, nothing to do with you. Take care of it. I gotta pee. I gotta go. Yeah, it's life. I argue with my wife. So,
What do you think your greatest strength is?
I ignore small stuff. I just ignore it. I just like, what?
You stay extremely focused.
Oh, extremely focused. Extremely focused to the point that nothing matters. Like there are times that I have this overwhelming rush of, I think it's blood or my nervous system. Like almost, have you ever felt like goosebumps? Like rush right through you?
Yeah.
Like cold sweat?
Yeah.
After I had to overcome some family chores. And I'm not talking about cheating or lying or anything like that. More like my kids wanted to be with me and I had to overcome that. You know what made me overcome? When they were little and my mother-in-law or someone else said, but it's your kids. You can't be that cold. I said, yes, I can. Because I can be cold until they're 6. After that, nope. Why? Because they know. They know. So there's a time period where people go, what you little... I get it. It's fun. I get it. I know it sounds very cold, but time, you're on a clock and you only have that amount of time to become something, because after that, they're going to say, Dad didn't care about us. Because after 6, 7, 8, they're going to know. They're going to say, Dad, why are you working all the time like this? The laptop is more important to you than us. Now, if you ignore that, well, you're going to pay the price. Big time. At your funeral, probably. Or somewhere else. You go to her wedding and she goes, Dad, you're late again. That's what I expected anyways. Because you don't care. But I do care, except that I condition myself to say, one more. It's like at the gym. Lats are tired and your biceps are ripping out and your tendons are like saying, go screw yourself, but you go one more. And then in my mind, I say, oh, that muscle's going to look good, buddy. It's going to look better than somebody else's because I did more. Same condition I applied to business. One more. I bought, remember, 27 houses in 1 year. Everyone said I was nuts. I'm going to go bankrupt. I completely over leveraged. Banks were not giving me any more money. I went to different banks because in commercial lending, you can't see that on a credit report. So nobody knows what you have unless you're honest with them, which I was, on your PFS, your personal financial statement. So you have to list everything. And they're like, you have a lot of, thing going on. I go, yeah, anything in default? No, I guess not. I go, is the market bad? No, it was during COVID too. And I remember buying my last 3 and my wife was like, please don't do this to us. And my mother, who's my CFO, said, "Well, I guess we're gonna go down." I didn't answer anything. Just kept buying. My stomach was in knots. I remember the last three. I was like, I just like rush, that cold rush when I was signing the signature. But guess what? Today, it helped me. It helped me to overstep. But guess what? Would have been foolish if I wasn't committed.
Sure.
I was committed, and I said, I will prevail. I will do. And I remember there were times where I was almost having a nervous break.
There's that much pressure.
Yeah. So much pressure that I was internally like bleeding.
I get it.
Yeah.
I've been there, actually. You put two athletes in a ring together, right? They're both amazing fighters. The one that typically wins is the one that has the mindset to kill I will fight until I'm dead.
And that's the same thing as I also, not to interrupt, but I wanted to add that the houses weren't my goal. It was the stepping stone to the next. And I said, you want to be a multifamily owner? What do you want to have? 2-3 family units? Or do you want to have 10,000 units? Oh, some people just, oh my gosh, that's too much. That's not possible. There are many people that are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
We know them.
Mm-hmm.
We talk to them. And how did they do it? They were first generation. Some of them were immigrants. I'm an immigrant. So are they better than me? No way. I don't accept that. I know I'm not the smartest guy on the block. I know that.
But you overcome it.
But I'm also not the dumbest guy on the block.
Yeah, you're willing to go to the dentist to get your teeth repaired.
Yeah. That's the thing. I know I'm not the best looking guy, but I never had an issue talking to a female. A good looking female. Confidence in business, super important. Are you confident or not? People say, oh, I don't like sales. Get to like them.
Yeah.
I don't like marketing. Start liking marketing.
Right. Right.
I just want to do what I like to do.
Then don't have a business.
Then stop doing this. Like to do? There are many things I don't like to do.
You were talking about playing chess with your daughter. It leads me. How important do you think it is to teach kids finance and investments?
Oh,
and
super!
All of this stuff.
That's a great topic. Because I'm not going to say I didn't have good parenting, because I talked about my grandma and how important it was, because it was at least something.
Dude, if you're given lemons, you fucking have made lemonade, dude.
Right.
So whatever.
I met one of my subcontractors who has a tree business.
Okay.
He talked about immigrants and how they come here and succeed. And he doesn't speak much English, and he had a hard time adding the bill. And I almost made fun of him, which I sort of regret. I said, well, you can't add 800 plus 600? He looked at me, he goes, my dad taught me how, it was some multiplication, I think, or something. I forget. He goes, my dad only taught me how to add. I was like, he goes, I never went to school. I go, you never went to any school? He goes, no, never.
Wow.
I go, wow, applaud, dude. Applaud. And here you are in United States, immigrant from jungles of Brazil, wherever he's from.
Running a business.
Nothing big, but he's putting food on the table.
Sure.
In the rain. He's a tree climber. In the rain. Cut the trees. That's a soldier. Covered in mud. Ropes, all that, all helmets, all covered. Chainsaw, in the middle of rain. That rain is splashing in his face. I was like, it reminded me of myself. That's who I am. I'll go up there. I'll cut it if I have to, in the rain. And I did it many times. I remember when I was starting in the business, I was a roofer, and a customer called and said the roof is leaking. It was in the middle of the process, and the tarp blew off
Yeah.
in the strong wind. I got to the job. I had pants on. I forget what I think. Yeah, I had pants on. And I said to myself, I assessed the situation. Like, you can die going on the roof. It was 2 stories or 3 stories, high peak. I took my clothes off because I said clothes is dangerous because when your pants are wet, jeans, it restrains your movement. I can't have it. One restrained move, you slip up, you're done. So I took literally to my underwear. People
To put the tarp back on.
Yeah, because I was gonna pay some big consequences if the house got wet. I wasn't gonna get paid. I was almost done with the job.
Yeah.
The roof caps and the tarp blew off.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the clothes off, cold rain, came out, went up there, put it on, soaked, but so what? I was, no clothes, put it on. They thought I was nuts. But guess what? At the end, they were like, wow, you're a hard worker. We thought this was going to be done, screwed. Who's going to go in the pour? I mean, the rain was so bad, it was just pouring, like gutters gushing and stuff. Guess what? I don't talk about it. This is like the first time I'm talking about it because nobody asked me this question, but it's a commitment. It's being fearless. Not talking about the wounds.
Yeah, the scars.
I remember there were times I would come home and eat. My fingertips were bleeding from touching shingles. I would hold the spoon, and the spoon fell out of my hand.
You couldn't hold it.
No, because I was eating soup. Just fell. I didn't go and say, "Oh my God, what am I doing to myself?" All the guys left. I turned the lights on and I finished the job. Getting paid, getting to the next one. Everybody else said, remember the word was, my dog's hurt. Because, on the roof, you're like this. Your feet are always like this. It hurts. And I said, I don't feel my dogs.
They're numb now.
I don't talk to them. Just kept going.
It's what you got to do.
Kept going. I didn't feel my feet at all.
You keep coming back to this. Thing, warrior mentality. You actually gave me a recommendation of a book. I just downloaded. Actually, I did. The credits on Audible are $11.95 a piece. The book only costs $4.95, so I just paid the $4.95 so I could get the $11 credit on a longer book. But I can't wait to listen to it. But the idea of this mindset that's required, and it goes back to that question I was asking about how important do you think it is to teach your children about money and investments and finances. It's kind of like you weren't set up for success in some ways
at all. No, and I feel
and your daughters
very very disadvantaged in that.
Yeah, but your daughters are never going to experience what you experience. So you're taking it's almost like, I want people to understand, it's not that you don't want to play Play-Doh with your kids. It's that you realize you have a very short amount of time. Yes. So if we're going to play chess, I'm going to engage with you. If you're going to do something that's going to benefit your life so you can be a free human, I'm going to be with you. If you want to do this other stuff, mommy can do that. That's
chess
what
is teaching them everything. In the middle of chess, I go, how many points did you have? Oh, Dad, 5 plus 4 plus 4. I go, multiply by 2. And I use other things. I use math. All of a sudden, we go somewhere, we're driving. I go, 500 multiplied by 25. What am I teaching them? Scale. Yeah. Don't be afraid of numbers. Like, you would think 50. I go, okay, now 50,000 multiplied by 500. And I make it sound like it's, but really what it is what? 50 by 5.
Right.
Or 5 by 5, rather.
Right.
I go, and my daughter, Victoria, older daughter, she's like, oh my gosh, Dad. I go, don't get scared by the zeros. Multiply the number. It's the same thing. 25 by 5, right? The same number. Add how many zeros you have, add them up, and put them to it.
How brilliant is
right?
that, too?
But what am I teaching them? At the same time, money. 25 multiply $25 multiplied by 5 is the same thing as 25 million multiplied by 500,000. It's the same thing. Don't be like, oh my God, what am I going to do with all this money? You don't need a safe. It's digital now. Don't worry about it. The rats are not going to eat it.
You don't have to put it in the walls.
Yeah. Back in the day, you would have to think of how many soldiers you need and where you need to bury it. You know, the gold, all of this digital world now. I mean, it's there's nothing to be afraid of. So back to, and I want to wrap it up with that. As far as this topic, because I feel like I'm not focusing on your question, is how important it is to teach our kids. It's our responsibility. It's our responsibility, 100%. Your kids are going to be who you are, and you are because of what your parents were. And what I mean by that, my father didn't teach me anything. I'm not embarrassed to say that. I don't condemn him. He died at 33 years old of cancer, drank a lot. But what was his environment? His dad didn't teach him anything, nothing. He was surrounded by fields of cows and corn and whatever. Good looking guy. Women loved him. Well, what else was he supposed to do? If I was given that environment, what would I become?
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
So I was given a chance by my mother to come to this country, experience other things. I remember she sent me a picture of a motorcycle because I like motorcycles. And she said to me, before I left Ukraine, she said, "You can have this if you work for it." I said to myself, my mother said, "Where did you get this, this hunger?" And I go, "You sent me a motorcycle and you told me I could have it. And I can buy millions of motorcycles now. Well, maybe not millions, but thousands." But that it's over. You put that spark. So put the spark in the kids, right? Make sure that whatever example you give them is something you want them to be. If you're ashamed of who you are, change it. If you think that what you're doing is wrong, stop. Because at the end of the day, if you don't care what your kids are going to become, then I don't know, why did you even have them?
It's true. And they do.
I prayed for a daughter. Why did I pray for a daughter? I wanted to protect something. I didn't want a son. And so God gave me two.
Yeah. A lot of protection.
I wanted to protect something. Why? I don't know. Maybe because nobody protected me ever. So I think that because nobody taught me anything, or I should say, very little I was taught, I want to now multiply that by 100x, thousands x, because I want my kids to get an advantage, but not to give them everything I can do, but give them an advantage and teach them how awesome it is to have advantage in every way. Not the money, the knowledge. I want my daughters to go to Harvard, not because I want them to have a Harvard degree. No. I want them to meet the right people.
Absolutely.
Friends. I want them to meet a husband there. Where is this husband coming from? Who is his father? I want to meet his father before you guys date. I want to meet his mother. Who is his dad? Was he a hard immigrant from Italy or some other country? That's great. Now, let's just say his father is no good, but the son went on his own and got a scholarship and went to Harvard. I also like him. But if his father approves his son abusing women, and I find out about it, he's done. So I think it's important. It's important to find out who are your kids involved with. Your daughter or your son going out till 12 in the morning. Where were you? Nothing happens good after 12. Where were you? What were you doing? If I'm going to give them a phone, I want to know where that phone is. And if that phone is somewhere else and she is somewhere else,
it's not a good night. I'm going to wrap things up. And I really appreciate what you talk about with children because just like you, I've employed hundreds and hundreds of people. And because I'm in construction too, I've met a lot of people that they're good people, but they didn't have anybody in their life. And it shows. by the choices that they make. And I think if I understand the true gospel, not the religion, but the gospel, it's that the candle is supposed to be in the home. It's not supposed to be in this building where everybody goes and meets and calls it church. Church needs to be at home.
That's
right.
right.
And so the parents need to be the ones that are raising their children right. And that's how we have a strong nation. It's how we have a strong world. So I appreciate that. But what I want to end with is this construction, and you alluded to it, this construction led you into real estate. And real estate led to Bridgewater Investments. And just for people listening, number one, your story of overcoming is pretty incredible. And I'd actually like to get you back here sometime. And actually, we kind of do like your whole timeline. It's fascinating to me because I'm from America, right? I don't call it the United States, call it America. I'm from America. And even though I lived in the country, and my dad was in Northern Virginia, so I traveled back and forth from the country to the city. But I'm a white guy in America. Like I should win was the mentality. But I meet so many people here that are just like, woe is me. And it's, you've become lazy. And so I want to have you back to talk about that. But there might be somebody here that goes, he started with nothing. He went and funded himself. He built it up to over $1 million in the bank, lost it back to $20. Now you've built a huge construction company, but it led to something. You always have the next step. And for you, that next step was investing in real estate. And that's where Bridgewater Investments has come from. Can you tell us just a little bit about what Bridgewater is and why people might be interested in it?
So I'll go a little back a little bit of how I saw the vision is and I also stay to that one of my one-on-one rules is stay in your lane. And what I mean by that is many people, I shouldn't say a lot, many people will get egg in what they're good at, whether it's a restaurant, maybe it's a karate place, whatever they're good at, some other business, and then they go, oh, maybe let's just say construction, and then they go buy a restaurant, or maybe they go and buy a dealership, and it all goes wrong. Why?
It's not your lane.
Stay in your lane. So why did I choose real estate? Well, what is construction?
Mm-hmm.
We build real estate, right? Real estate is what? Land, sticks on top, whatever those are.
And a roof to make sure it doesn't fall down.
I mean, whether it's 250-story Burj Khalifa or it's a single family, it's still the same. It's still construction. And then from there, you need money to do that. So investments part have to be funded to be able to complete this. And of course, building a house maybe doesn't take a lot of money, and building a 250 unit apartment building takes a lot more money. And there are different ways to achieve that. There's a way to go with funding it yourself, and that's what I've always done, and provided the equity myself. But then I said to myself, for me to get to where I see myself and the value I can provide, it's going to take a very, very long time if I do it on my own. And to get to self-fund hundreds of millions of dollars, I mean, it's going to take me a long time to get there. Yeah. And then once I get there, will I get there?
Yeah.
That's the
other question. You might burn out on the process.
Maybe I don't even get there because it's going to take so long to do this. And people say it's about the long game. Agreed. How long? Mm-hmm. I'm 41 years old. So let's say it takes 30 years. So I'll be 71. Wow.
Yeah, good for everybody but you.
Yeah, it's like, what am I going to do then? Do with that success? I want to experience life. 41, 51, 61? I'd rather do 51. I think that's my last chance.
So what you put together is an investment company where people can
to accelerate the process, right?
Yep.
But at the same time, along the way, give opportunities to others to do what perhaps I say even this back, I said this to my wife the other day. I said, had I invested into something when I was younger? She goes, well, you invested in yourself. I go, true. But at the same time, if I invested into real estate, stock, or something that could grow over time, and somebody gave me that opportunity or brought me to that opportunity, I would have been much ahead. So in other words, I talk to doctors that are brilliant surgeons and make three, four, five, $600,000 a year, and they don't know what to do with it. Nobody taught them anything else. Nobody taught them investments. Again, parenting.
Mm-hmm.
They said, "Oh, become a doctor, son."
Right.
And what else?
And it'll all be great.
What do I do with it?
Right.
Son, become a good football player. Great. He's got millions. How many do we know that went broke after they achieved the money?
Yep.
Nobody taught them anything. What to do with the money. So money's great, but what do you do with it? Having a family is great, but what does it take to sustain one? There's another. How many people get kids and 2 years later, 5 years later, divorced? Wow, great success.
Mm-hmm.
Now these kids are even more confused
Mm-hmm.
than they were before.
Mm-hmm.
At least daddy and mommy argued, but they were there.
Mm-hmm.
They're no longer there. So I guess divorce is okay to them. Think about it. So that's, anyways, but that also applied to business. Like investors to me are my family.
Yeah.
If I betray them, what's the success in that?
Yeah.
There's no success.
And you've hung yourself out there.
I want them to be proud of me.
Yeah.
I wanted them to be like, that guy, he pays. He stands by his agreement. He returns the money. He's not a thief.
Yeah, and you're not greedy with it either. Like you're
because I don't know how their money came to them.
But what you're willing to return is higher than
so
most.
hard, third shift somewhere.
Yeah.
And they invested into me. They believed in me that I will help them. That to me is worth everything. It's not about the money. It's that you trusted me. To do this is humbling to me.
Sure.
I tear up even talking about it. Because I never thought that I was capable of something great like that. I knew that I could do it, but will it happen is another thing.
Yeah, realizing that dream is different.
Yeah, man. I was telling you the other day too, where people say to me, "Oh, I don't want to go to X seminar or do this because I already know." And I always say, "Really? What do you know?" "Oh, I know." "Really? What is it that you know? Tell me." And they have nothing to say. "Well, what do you mean? What are you asking?" What do you mean what I mean? I asked you a question. What do you know? What do you know for sure? Unconditionally, for sure. Go and hear to make sure that song is replayed and you go, I know that song. That's the song I listen to. I believe in that, and I'm glad that someone who is way more above me just confirmed it. Now you know that there's nobody, like there are things that I know in business that I don't care what anybody tells me, I can call them out and say, no, you're full of shit. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Because I know on my own skin how it works.
Yep.
And you cannot tell me that it doesn't work that way.
It's the difference between the chicken and the egg. There's a big difference between being involved and being committed. And the cool thing about, and this is for everyone to listen to, the cool thing about actually being committed is like knows like. And when you're involved, it's pretty easy to get fooled.
Yes.
So when people try to sell you shit and they're calling it shinola, you go, no.
And who do you listen to?
Yeah.
I see, some people say, oh, I listen to this and I listen to my brother. And they always, the minute that people tell you, don't do this, don't do this, don't, and they have nothing to back it up with, it's fine to say, son, don't do this because this and that. You have to back that up because of this.
Sure.
Now, let's just say your dad said, stay out of courts, right? You told me this. Great lesson. I don't think I've ever heard that from anybody, that someone was told that. It's important. Meaning, what is he teaching? There's nothing good in court. It's trouble.
Oh,
Either suing somebody is trouble, and some people go to court because they're, I don't want to name the word, but they are no good people that use the system to screw somebody.
Sure.
Now it's one thing to go get what's yours because somebody did you wrong, but to go and use the system to
manufacture
something and then screw somebody, that's I call them hyenas.
Mm-hmm.
Hyenas that are trying to take a lion down.
Yeah, jackals.
Oh, I smell them from a distance. I want nothing to do with them, right? So, anyways, the lesson was stay out of trouble, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get involved with courts because your name will get in there, and all of a sudden it trickles down to another case and another case and something, and then all the judges know you, and it's just this doesn't really work.
Dude, I've seen it firsthand. I mean, I appreciate that advice from Dad, but there was a guy that worked for me for a while, and he did a couple bad things, got a restraining order put on him. Then he goes and it must have happened 2 or 3 times. Then he goes and dates a girl, and I know for a fact he is not where she says he is. But all she has to do is call the cops and say, "I saw him," and they immediately arrested him. And it's like once you're in, it's very hard to get out.
And I'll top that off with, again, you hear that more and more in the circles that are low IQ.
Yes.
Right? That's the circle I got out of. It's a septic tank. It smells very bad. You should get out of it because you stink too.
Yeah.
And people that do that are very low people.
Yes.
They have no ethics.
Yes.
They are, I think they're just angry at themselves that do this. Like people that post a negative review on someone I mean, you know what I say? Like, somebody said, "Oh, I went to eat this and place sucked or something," and I basically told the public, and I'm like, you know who does that? Who never had a business. Because I can't do that to a man.
I can't either.
You know how much money he invested here? I look at him like, $1 million. You know what it's like to put $1 million on the table? Now I just won't come back. That's fine.
Yeah.
The fries suck.
And if I need to say something, I'll go do that privately.
Yeah, I'll tell my friends, this place was, I don't know. If somebody says, what do you think about that cappuccino place? I'd be like, there was a fly, but it tasted good. So maybe I'll give it a try again. I'm just saying.
I get it.
This never happened to me, but I came up with that. So if I went to a place and the potatoes, with the skins didn't quite swallow well, and they didn't know what they're doing. Well, maybe they had a hard time, or maybe, you know what I do? I come up to them and go, let me give you an advice. This is not going to work. Why? Did you eat that? What would you say? I said, your skins just come off and just like either make them off or make them stay. Like, what is this? Like, I don't want to eat skins.
Choke on
it's
skins.
It's not pork belly skin. It's like potato skins. It's literally, I said, you overboiled them and under fried them or under grilled them. You go figure it out. I'm not going to figure it out. But as a client, this is mush. I don't know what this is. I feel bad for you. You look like a hard worker.
And I resonate with it because I've been a business owner for so long. Like, I would never do that to someone, mainly because I don't want anybody doing it to me. And I think what you give out comes back somehow or another.
Same thing in in any other business. Even in my business, I remember there was a wall, but something that drives me nuts if the wall is not square or just makes no sense and running in a wrong direction or wrong angle, I should say. Instead of a 45, I see 43. Or instead of a 90, I see 95 or 84. And one time I asked someone that worked for me, I said, what's wrong with this? They won't see it. I fired him right on the spot. I go, I see it. Shame on you to say this to me? They won't see it? Huh. What about the people that they invite to their house? Will they see it? And they go and say, who built your house? Oh, it's this company. Oh, actually, I thought I was going to call them, but now I won't.
Yeah.
So what is the yield of that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's how you do anything is how you do
So
everything.
you can't grow like this.
Right. Yeah. And he's letting you know that you can't always see it. And so he's going to take advantage of you.
So
as
basically,
well.
you're saying that somewhere in the closet there's a hole. It's okay to let it go because it's a closet.
It's not how
Is
you
that
do
up
life.
to you? It's not up to you.
Right.
You can do that in your house. Like people clean the car or do something and they don't clean it well. You can clean your car like that. Don't clean people's cars like that. That's not how it's done. So back to the last topic that you said about Bridgewater. So what we do is uh, basically we raise money for projects. We're working on a fund to have a constant fund so we can deploy capital when there's an opportunity. And again, it's to benefit the investors, because if we find a good opportunity that can give a better yield or better return, that's what we really want to do. It's impressing the investor, give them those goosebumps, giving them that smile to say, you know what, wow, the returns this guy gives are amazing.
Mhm.
Why? He's skilled. He knows opportunities. He knows how to go after them. He knows how to assess a piece of property, and he knows how to create value and how to multiply that value. I'm in with him. As simple as
It
that.
doesn't get any simpler than that. And if people would literally take the time to think about doing excellence, the money follows.
And the other thing is many investors want to be a part of something that's already de-risked, an established asset. Okay, you can do that. Every risk has its own reward. And I tell investors we're ground up. Everything we do is ground up. Oh, that's too risky. I go, okay. So number one, ground up means 10 years of almost no maintenance because we built it.
It's brand new.
I built it. I am building for us. This is not like some crappy building built and it's all falling apart. First 10 years, almost no maintenance, right? Why wouldn't you want that? You're getting massive cost segregation because you're going from new to used. Tax returns wiped out. You made any money? Let's say you made 300 grand with me. I give you cost segregation. Your K1 wiped out. No taxes due. Right? So the distribution of the segregation, huge. Why wouldn't anybody like that? You go in the stock market. Well, first of all, you don't know. Maybe that company's going to be gone. This, at least, is there. Is an asset.
It's real.
Grab it. You can touch it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a brick or concrete. It's not going anywhere. The business may disappear, but the building is still there, right? So that's that. And then when it comes to stocks, what's the depreciation?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you make, you got to pay Uncle Sam, period. There's no talking. When you have an asset that depreciates, that you can do cost segregation on, all of a sudden, you wiped out. Now, you want to move your investment from one to another through an exchange, which IRS beautifully allows you to do that. No capital gains.
We can keep
Where
rolling
can you
this
go
bigger and bigger.
do that I just cashed out of Tesla and I bought Google. Pay.
Mm-hmm. Every time.
What do you mean pay? I just took the same money and put it over here. We don't care.
Right.
You made money.
Right.
Pay. And when you lose money, we'll give you money back. Well, I want to control my own money. I don't want you to control it. It's like being an employee paying taxes. I always tell people, no matter what, put 5. What do you mean? I don't have 5 kids. The government is taking your money for a whole year. Yeah, but then I got to come up with it. Well, that's the problem. You don't know how to save.
Right.
But you will get more money up front. You can invest the same money the government's taking from you into an asset. And then probably, most likely, if you're smart enough and understand how compound interest works, take that interest, keep the principal that you would have given to IRS, and pay them at the end of the year.
Right. Because that's what they're doing with your money.
Yeah. They're going and lending it to the bank
Right.
at X percent.
Right.
The bank takes your money that's sitting in your account, leveraging that, making money on you. I mean, I can keep going on this.
It's a fascinating topic, and
nobody taught me this until I learned.
Well, until you become interested, it's and they should teach it, but they don't. But that's why people like you and I are here to help them out.
Yes.
Well, I'll make sure that we get all of your information on. So this thing goes on a lot of different platforms, but I'll make sure that they have access to Bridgewater Investments, access to you. If somebody wanted to reach out to you and like have a conversation with you about whatever, what's the best way that they could do it?
I just had a simple phone call, my cell.
Okay.
My cell.
So we'll put that number on
just right out there.
Okay.
You know what I say? Some people say, "Well, I don't go there. Oh, what if I don't want to talk to you? I just tell you I don't want to talk to you." Simple.
That's what happens when you have a straightforward guy.
It's like, what? Yeah. Don't call me. That's simple.
Well, I'm glad you came in, man. Thank you. Thank you. We'll have you back, and we've got some more stuff to talk about anyway. But everybody, it's been a really cool episode. Really glad that you were here. Nazar is a good friend of mine. Very, very stand-up guy. He's doing a lot of stuff in real estate and a lot of stuff with investments. He pays very, very well to the people that that invest with him. And the biggest thing that I appreciate about him is he actually takes care of them like they're his family. So we'll see you in the trenches next time, everybody.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand.
Hey, friend, if you enjoyed listening to this podcast, please leave a review and subscribe to catch future casts. If you really enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it so others can benefit from it as well. I'll see you in the trenches.
Try to catch me howling at the moon.